Hi everyone, welcome back to MPU3253. This is me, Miss Farah again.
For our lecture today. Firstly, I would like to apologize for the inconvenience and what happened yesterday. The internet was really bad at my area apparently.
But you guys were amazing and very understanding. So, first of all, in order for you to get your attendance,
Two things that you have to complete here. So the first one is actually to watch this recording, which most of you guys have done, and the second one is actually to schedule an appointment with me. Now, all of you guys or all of the group members have written your own consultation time in the in our WhatsApp group. So what you guys have to do now is that to receive an email from me, and I will be providing each and every one of you your own group the link to our consultation. All right, so that is if you guys do watch this recording and attended the consultation, you guys should be able to get your attendance for yesterday's class. All right, let's get going. So
3253 again.
in class, you guys are now in week 2. All right. Now, these are some of the several most frequently asked questions that a lot of you guys apparently ask me, and I would like to take this opportunity to firstly address all of these questions so that you guys don't have to come to me and repeatedly ask the same question. Now, the first thing that a lot of you guys ask me is whether or not you guys will have to go for final exam for this course. Now, hooray, we don't have final exam for this course, but it comes with a consequence, and the consequence is because it's 100% coursework. It basically means that you have to do a lot of things throughout the semester. Okay. Number two, a lot of you guys ask me if they can choose their own group member. Now, in the beginning of week 1, okay, even before we go into our class, I have given you guys we created a WhatsApp group, and basically I asked you guys to choose your own group. Okay, so I hope that I did justice in that area. The third question that some of you guys asked is whether or not you guys are allowed to change your own group. Now, I wouldn't allow, or I wouldn't encourage you to change your group now, simply because it's already becoming to week 3, and your first assignment, which is on week 4, okay, design challenge will be in week 4, and that is very soon. And a lot of groups now have done their top 3 ideas, and hopefully you guys will be able to finalize your idea as soon as possible. Now, if you do that, the consequence is maybe the new group will not accept you, because you are definitely a new member, and as well as they have their own dynamic and they're very comfortable with their own group right now. So I wouldn't advise you to change your group. All right. Right. So lastly, is there any theme for our solution in this design thinking project? Now, in the top 3 ideas, I was looking at it, and I think some of you guys still did not manage to sort of like take in the theme for our semester. Now, this semester, you guys are supposed to do a social business solution or social business idea, and don't worry about it. I will be taking some time to go through with each group, and then we're going to discuss into how to make your solution, or how we can make it social businessy. All right, so that is why it's very important for you to come during the consultation itself. All right, so let me firstly remind you guys again on the assessments in this course. There are 2 types of assessment that I have divided according to this table. The first one will be the individual part, and the second one will be the group part. Now, as you can see here, the majority of the marks falls under the group marks. Okay, so in your group, there are 4 things that you have to complete. The first one will be your first assessment in week 4. That is the design challenge. Okay, design challenge. I will be talking more about design challenge next week. Number 2, you guys will have to do your group wiki, and that will be due in week 11. I think I have been repeatedly say this to you guys. All right, so every single week I will be telling you guys what you have to contribute in each group wiki page. Now, all of those group wiki pages, the 7 of the group wiki pages, will due in week 11. All right. So no matter what you guys are doing now, you still have time to improve up until week 11. However, I would not advise you to do everything last minute. And I do check your group wiki every single week because I want you guys to do your best. Okay. The third assignment or the third activities that is counted in your GPA for this course is actually group pitch. Now, group pitch is also in week 11. That is when you guys have to present your idea in front of a group of internal judges. All right. And lastly, in week 5, you guys will be paired with a mentor from the industry based on your solution that you have proposed. And that mentor will eventually evaluate you guys, and that will be 10% of your group marks. Now, every single week, no, I'm so sorry, not every single week, in certain weeks, you guys have to complete quizzes. And those quizzes are up to 30% of your whole marks. And there are a lot of cases where students got 30 out of 30. So please do your best. And there are, I think, 2 attempts for each quiz. Okay, so please do prepare and please get full marks, as simple as that. Okay. Now, as I mentioned just now, the online quizzes, okay, not every single week you would have to do the online quizzes. Please do take note on the quizzes that you have to do, and as you can see here, week 1 you have 2 quizzes, week 2 you have 1, week 3 you have 1, and week 6, 8, and 9 is also 1. Okay, so please do take note on that. If you want to know more, please do download your weekly learning planner from the welcome note in your Blackboard. Okay, so you will be able to see all of the information there. All right. Okay, now let's get started. Now, before we get started, these are the things that I wish you guys to achieve this week. First of all, to be able to describe the discover phase and to explain what are the things that will be involved in primary and secondary research by using the sustainable developmental goals. All right. Now, first of all, I would like to open and show you guys your group wiki. As I mentioned, all of these will only due in week 11. However, I always check on your wiki pages every single week because I want you guys to do your best and I want you guys to get high marks. Okay, as simple as that. Now, a lot of you guys, some of the group did so well. Okay, so well. But some of you are still lacking in certain ways. So please do try and make your group wiki as interesting as possible and as colorful as possible. It's because it's 30% of your whole marks. Okay. So for those who have done it, very good. Well done. Congratulations. Okay. So I also would like to emphasize that in your every single week, okay, every single week, there will be a much more detailed instructions that are available on Blackboard that I think a lot of you guys do not see. Okay, so in group wiki page 1, rather than just providing introduction, okay, rather than just providing introduction, there are more things that you have to complete. So the first thing is actually to have and to upload a picture of yourself. It could be individual if you guys know each other and then you want to Photoshop it, whatever. You guys can have a group photo as well, but in each of the photograph I want you guys to complete and to give me a bit of a short introduction about you. Okay, so the second question that you have to answer in your first page of group wiki is, what is the challenge that you guys have decided on? Now, if you guys haven't finalized your idea, obviously you wouldn't be able to answer this question. From the challenge itself, you have to address which sustainable development goals that you guys are addressing. Okay, so we have I taught you guys on SDG before, and the rule of thumb for SDG is basically if your solution have more SDG, it means that it's better. It means that you have a good idea because you're trying to solve a lot more issues out there. Okay, and lastly, please also provide individually. Okay, so if you have 7 members, I want to see 7 challenge or 7 paragraph talking about why that individual is interested to work on this design challenge. Okay, so you have to answer it. You have to tell us why is it that each one of you want to do this. All right. So from by looking at your group wiki, there are some general feedback that I would like to address. I don't want to point out specific group, but I just want to lay it down to you guys so you guys are aware on what I'm expecting. Okay, so first of all, please do make sure that all of the group members do upload their pictures because your marks will be deducted if you don't upload your picture. Number two, please make sure that all group members add their introduction. Now, I understand that some of you guys perhaps do not know each other, and some of you guys, oh, Miss, this is awkward working with a stranger. I know, but when I look at the name list, okay, when I look at the name list, and if the name list is saying or stating that you guys have 7 group members, please do advise some of your friends, okay, a few of your friends who did not complete their introduction or their work, okay? All right, so please make sure that everybody contributes in your group wiki. All right, so basically what we're going to do today is number one, I hope that you guys will be able to finalize your ideas and projects. This is what we have done yesterday. I asked you guys to contribute in Google Slides, and by using those Google Slides, I would do it, or I would refer back to the Google Slide when you guys are doing consultation with me. All right. Number two, we are trying to look at persona map as well. And persona map is part of the things that you guys learn this week. And lastly, we shall be looking very briefly into primary research and secondary research. However, I shall be providing more details about constructing questionnaire using primary research next week. So stay tuned for that. Now, this is something that I introduced you guys last week. We're basically trying to illustrate the different processes of or steps in design thinking when you guys are doing design thinking. All right, so the first step would be discover, then define, then develop, then deliver, and also iterate. Now, the first thing that we're gonna the first step that we're gonna do today or this week would be trying to discover about the problem itself. Now, in the discover phase, what you have to do is the first one is to be able to identify the problems, okay, the challenge that you guys are facing. Now, a lot of people they tend to get a little bit confused because they would think about the solution first rather than thinking about the problem. And it's, to be honest, it's the other way around. Instead of thinking about creating something, you firstly need to think about how is this a problem. All right. So number two is including to be able to understand the challenge. Okay, so this is when I need you guys to explain to me the mechanism of your solution or your idea. You also need to be able to understand these 3 people, your audience. The first one will be the target market, the people who potentially would benefit from your solution. Number two, the people who are indirectly and directly involved in this issue, which are stakeholders. Okay, we call it as stakeholders. And lastly, you also need to be able to think about the experts, okay, the people who you need help in order for you to make your solution or your idea happen or reality. Okay, so from understanding the persona map, you will be able to define your audience better, particularly your target market. And we shall be talking more about persona map in a bit. And lastly, in the discover phase as well, you need to be able to prepare for your research. All right. Now, I want to come back again on the definition of social business simply because I believe that not a lot of you guys understand again on the concept of social business. All right, so social business do not just simply focus on to getting profit every single week, every single year, every single time. However, instead of looking at the profit, looking at what we can generate money mostly, but we are focusing on one social issue that we want to overcome. Again, when defining your problem, you have to firstly find one social issue that you wish to help or you wish to contribute to. Okay, so without this problem in social cost or social need or social problem, you would not be able to use or you would not be able to create a social business. Now, a lot of my students, they tend to create a lot of new innovations, which is awesome, good. But unfortunately, it's not our theme this semester. This semester, we're looking mostly onto social business. All right, please do make it clear. Now, I don't want to come back again on this because I know that I have, briefed you guys on this traditional and social business. Again, in order for you to create one social business, you need to be able to pinpoint or you need to be able to discover the pressing need or the social cause that you want to help. If you still do not understand, please have a look in week one. Okay, in week one's folder, I have given you two videos on social business coming from the professor Muhammad Yunus himself, and also the Yunus Social Business Center, which is something that he created. And the reason why we have all of these projects is because INTI is also a social business school. By all means, we are one of the people who are advocating on the idea of social business. And to be honest, when I read a lot of things on social business, I can see that a lot of people and social business do have a lot of potential in future, because big companies, they are looking forward or they're looking for ideas to improve their image, and they would have allocation for CSR activities, and they would pair up and collaborate with a lot of companies to sort of like channel with social business. Okay, so social business could be the next future, and you guys should be very, very grateful that you guys are part of this project, because this could be something that you guys might see in future as well. All right, so again, if you guys are still not clear about social business, please do your own research or go back again into our week ones folder and have a look at the meaning, have a look at what it takes to be or to create a social business. All right, these are the 7 principles of social business. Go back again, understand on these principles. So let's move into the sustainable development goals. Again, all of your solutions, all of your ideas, your social business idea has to relate back to this SDG, and it's important. Now, sometimes one idea or one solution can have 2, 3, 4, or 5 SDG. Again, I want to emphasize, the more SDG that you have, the better your idea is. All right. Now, before you decide on the best idea, the best solution that you want to do to solve the pressing need, to solve the social issue, to solve the social problem that you have to go back again and think about these 3 components here. Now, the first thing is always go back to the people who need this solution, who need this idea. So you think about the needs of people, okay, who will benefit and who will gain, who will gain from this solution itself. Okay, so these people could be your target market. Number 2 is the feasibility, to think about whether or not this idea can happen anytime in future. By all means, you have to think about whether or not with our current state of technology, is this something that is doable. And lastly, the most important thing, because this is again a social business, so you need to make sure that you generate money, you generate profit in order for you to sustain in the market itself. Now, I have had consultation with my other section. Some of them give me brilliant ideas to save the planet, to reduce the plastic usage and stuff. However, you have to remember, you need to gain profit and money. Okay? Without it, you cannot do it. All right? So yesterday I asked you guys to contribute in your Google slide. I asked you guys to give me your top 3 ideas again. During our consultation, I would use those Google Slides, and it's very, very important. Please make sure your ideas are social business. Okay? All right, so now let's try and define your audience using persona map. Now, just now we talked about how important it is to be able to understand your target market or the people who will be directly involved in this project. In order for you to understand those audience, those people, the nicest and the best way for you to use is actually persona map. Now, there are actually different ways or different interpretations of different people when using a persona map, but it's basically actually trying to see and trying to use empathy, trying to feel how is it like when you are now the target market. Basically, you put yourself in their shoes and think in their own point of view. So you think about how would you feel about this thing? What did you see? What would you look forward to see? Okay, what kind of commercial would you do for people like, your target market? What can you hear? Okay, what kind of rumors that you perhaps would have to listen to? And what do you say and what do you do? Now, when you want to generate and create a persona, you have to have a list of questions that you need to think about. Okay, so the first question is actually, who is this person? Okay, what is this person's age? What is he or her work as? What's her background? What's his background? And most importantly, what is his or her opinion on this issue, the social cost that you guys are trying to address? So this is an example of a persona map that I did for my student who did a project on zero waste pet food. Sorry. So basically the idea is to the let me firstly explain about the social cost that they are trying to tackle. Basically, they are seeing or they observe that in Inti Ayu Nilai, they saw a lot of stray animals. They saw a lot of stray cats. They saw a lot of stray um, dogs, and they see that this is an issue because if they were to report on the authorities, what the authorities will do is that they will kill these dogs, they will kill this animal, and it's cruel. Okay, so they don't want to do it, but they cannot help to see how these stray animals is going to end up, dead, or end up being very savage, or even trying to, it's reducing, in terms of cleanliness as well. It's not good for the surrounding. So they see that as a problem and they think on how to solve the issue. So in order to solve the issue, what they did is that they say that they want to go to neighboring and nearby restaurants and ask those restaurants if they want to discard or if they want to dispose some, waste food. If they have any waste food, and then what they would do with the waste food is actually they will classify those waste food, and then they're gonna take several or different categories of waste food, and then they're gonna make a pet food out of those waste food. Okay, so I really like this idea simply because first of all it's zero waste, and secondly it's trying to solve a social issue, which I thought was very wonderful and very clever. And how do they generate money is by selling those pet food, and then from the profit they would try and build a shelter for the animal and trying to sustain for their needs, because those animal needs to eat as well. They need to, have certain vaccine and stuff like that. So I think that is solving the issue of this stray animal. So that was brilliant to me. Now, from that, since they are trying to create and trying to produce a product of zero waste pet food. Okay, so they should be doing a persona map to think about the possible buyers for their product. So this is basically what I have tried to come up with for them. So as you can see here, we have Lizzie Egan, and Lizzie Egan here, for some reason looks like Taylor Swift. I don't know. Okay, so Lizzie Egan is non-Malaysian because she is an expat from UK, United Kingdom. She is in her 35 years old. She is working as HR manager at Petronas, a very renowned company in Malaysia, in KLCC. It's very city, if you can say it, and she has a PhD in sociology from Oxford University. Several background information about Lizzie is that she's very conscious about the environment, and to prove that she is very conscious about the environment, she actually contribute 150 ringgit to charity organization UNICEF every single month because she believes that UNICEF is doing a good job with maintaining the environment, I guess. So Lizzie here has three cats, which are Meredith, Arthur, and also Guinevere. And one thing about Lizzie is that she buys cat food every single week because apparently maybe her cat eats a lot. I don't know. Okay, so she has three cats, so that's quite a lot. So as you can see here, Lizzie herself is a possible buyer simply because she needs pet food and she buys cat, cat food every single week. She has three cats, and most importantly, she is somebody who will support any kind of effort to help the environment. And this pet food is a zero waste pet food. Hence, it's trying to reduce the waste in the environment. So it's a good thing. All right. Now, several things. One of the issues that Lizzie has is that she needs to go outside to buy groceries, and she finds it very difficult because she has a very busy schedule. Now, as a company who's trying to cater to people like Lizzie, you now have to think, how would you solve this issue for Lizzie? Maybe you can have an option of delivery. Maybe you can have the option of maybe extending your office hour or extending your shop for people who are perhaps busy, or maybe you can have like a COD kind of thing. Okay, so by understanding someone's pains and gains, you will be able to create a better mechanism for your business because you're trying to cater to your target market basically. And what's wonderful about Lizzie is that she is someone who hopes to contribute to environmental friendly campaign. So by all means, she would be very impressed with this zero waste pet food, and she can be loyal customer to this particular product. So by using persona map, you're basically trying to put yourself in a shoe, someone else's shoe, and then trying to think, okay, what could be his or her problem? How can we solve this? How can we cater to this person? Okay, doing this will help you to understand and to actually produce products that are actually based on what they need. Okay, rather than you just selling what you have, selling on what they need, your customers needs. All right. Okay, so now let's move on to our second agenda, which is talking about primary and secondary research. I have to tell you a secret. I actually have recorded this video for, this is my fourth time actually recording this. So it's basically at the back of my head, everything that I've said. I've been recording this video since yesterday after our class, but because of my internet connection, for some reason, I could not do it, and this is my fourth time. So bear with me. Okay, so let's move into primary and secondary research. Now, just some context for you guys. Primary and secondary doing research is something that I am very passionate about. I consider myself as a researcher, and this is like my forte. This is kind of like my thing. Okay, so what I am going to introduce you guys is basically just a very simple summary into doing research. Okay, I don't want to get things too complicated because it's not nice, and I want to make it simple for you guys, and I hope this is something that you guys will be able to identify and will be able to distinguish between each other. All right. So in research, there are two types. First one is what we call as primary research, and the second one is something that we call as secondary research. Now, it's actually very straightforward. Primary research is when you yourself is becoming the researcher of the research itself. So you yourself have to conduct, and you yourself have to do the research. So what you are getting out of the research is actually a first-hand information. So it's basically a raw data that you will get. On the other hand, secondary research is also what we call as desk research. Instead of going to the field and to get the information itself, you're now only we're looking at analyzed and interpreted information. Alright? So you want to be going anywhere, you can just sit in your room, Google Scholar and find any kind of research or projects that other people have done and basically reading it. Okay? Now if you were to understand primary and secondary research, before you start with the primary research, actually you need to do a lot of secondary research. Before deciding on what you want to study, you firstly need to look into what other people have done. Then only you will be able to know your content and your scope of your own research. Okay? Now there are different ways for you to do primary research. When you are yourself the researcher, you can basically interview people and send out questionnaire and survey. Now this is something that I want each and every one of you guys to do. And I think we're going to try and keep it very simple. I think online survey is the easiest one since it's parental anyway. So unless you guys want to go, beyond and start interviewing people, that is also possible. Or you can do a bit of observation or immersive experience. Now, immersive experience could be like a VR thing where you wear goggles and try in the immersive part. Or another way is for the researcher to pretend and to be as part of the subject. Okay, so you immerse yourself in that situation and you write journals based on your experience. All right. I think if you guys go into Netflix and stuff, there are a lot of journalists who actually went to the scariest part of the town or even go to certain jails and they report back on their experience. That would be immersive experience. Okay. However, on the other hand, for secondary research, because you're only reading what other people have done, you would go and find some journals, some reports, some research articles, some books, magazines, or even some solid databases. Now, as you can see here, the most important thing about secondary research is finding out, true and credible sources when you are looking for research. Okay, so not every website are legit. Google Scholar, yes. Okay, but not all websites you can simply cite anything. Okay, so websites like Wikipedia, you guys know, please don't cite Wikipedia. It's crazy. What you need to go and find is actually the resources from the Wikipedia and have a look at those sources. Click on the links, making sure if it's legit or not. If it's like a journal article, go ahead and read it. Maybe it's something there. Alright? As I mentioned, when it comes to primary research, you are now taking the role of a researcher. Or if you have some grant money, the government gives you grants, money, you can actually pay someone to do the research. Alright? However, in secondary research, because you're reading someone else's work, it's not your own work. Alright? When it comes to data, or information that you got, for primary research, the information that you got is basically specifying to what you want, what you need, because you are the researcher. Everything that you want, you will be able to cater to because you're the one who designed the whole research. However, for secondary research, it might not be specific to what you want because you are looking at what's available out there, and what you want cannot be the same what other people have done. All right. In primary research, you are very involved with the whole process because you are the researcher, and that is not the case for secondary research. You're not directly involved at all. However, for the cost for primary research is very high because you're the one who's conducting it. And for secondary research, it's very low. Maybe you might have to pay a couple dollars for you to access the journal articles. Okay, but there are also some journals that offer free access. Okay, and for primary research, it's usually taking a long time because you have to do research. But for secondary research, it would take a shorter time because you're simply reading what other people have done. Okay, cool. So now you understand hopefully primary research and secondary research. Primary research, you do the research yourself. Secondary research, it's desk research. You basically read what other people has done on the topic. Cool. Alright, so please do not forget to complete quiz 3 research. Okay, so please do not forget to do primary and secondary research quiz. And then I'll see you next week, and we'll talk more into, or we'll talk more into talking about how to design, which is a big question, and it's important because you guys will have to go for your design challenge. Okay, thank you so much, guys.